What up, brothers? Welcome back to Throwin Hands, the number one mixed martial arts podcast in the world. Breck, we have returned from the Shadow Realm. Daniel is still trapped. I've seen Daniel. He's doing all right. Breck, what do you have to say?
Yeah, we've been in the Shadow Realm for a while. I think it's the one Ngannou sent Overeem to, that Shadow Realm. But like you said, Dan's doing well by all reports. But then again, that could be the false Dan. That could be the Dan that the
Pseudo Dan.
That could be the Dan that the Shadow Realm is projecting.
Let's get into some fights, but I'm glad we're back. Roxanne Modafferi versus Taylor Santos. Roxanne, she's been on a little slide as of late. Hasn't been looking too hot. And then we got Taylor Santos. You know, she's looking to get up into those rankings a little bit. 2-fight win streak against Maya McCann and Jillian Robertson. What's your thoughts on this one, real quick?
Well, if you're betting this one, you probably should bet on Roxanne Modafferi. If you look at her win-loss record, she's coming up. She, like, her last 10 fights, it's like win-loss, 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 win-loss. So that being said, I like Santos.
Yeah, same. I like Santos too.
Modafferi is like a good story. She's a decent fighter, but you know, gotta go with the Brazilian always.
Yeah, always. Heavyweight, two big boys going at it. Shamil Abdul-Rakhimov versus Chris Daukaus. Chris Daukaus, one of the rising contenders in this heavyweight division. Fun fact: Chris Daukaus is a police officer in Philadelphia. I don't know if you knew that, but
no.
Will Chris Daukaus bring justice to the table in this fight?
I believe so. I haven't seen Shamil fight too much. What was his last fight?
It's been 2 years, I think.
That's what I'm saying. So I wouldn't remember. That's about when I started getting real hardcore. But
lost to Curtis Blades.
2019, yeah. I mean, if you got KO'd by Curtis Blades, I think Chris Daukaus knocks you out, if I had to guess.
Yeah, Chris Daukaus' boxing is pretty good.
Pretty good.
So I think Chris Daukaus will win, and who knows?
If it goes to the ground, maybe he won't, but I think they'll keep it standing mostly.
Yeah, I think Chris will bring Shamil to justice. Then I want to see Daukaus Aspinall. That's what I want to see.
That would be a fun one. Although Aspinall's kind of like, maybe he needs a higher ranked guy after that.
Yeah, Aspinall's a different breed, bro.
Future champ.
For sure. All right. This fight almost didn't happen. I have no idea how it is happening. So let me give you the rundown. Dan Hooker had visa issues in New Zealand because they have no freedom over there. And then Nasrat Haqparast had visa issues coming out of Germany, and he almost didn't get over here. He flew in Thursday, which is the day we're recording this. And Dan Hooker got in Wednesday, I think. So none of these guys have requested just an open weight thing or a catch weight. They're still going 155. Respect to these guys, but I'm looking for Dan Hooker to get back on track here.
No fan would be angry if they missed weight. This should be at 165, 170. I think they're both probably really good professionals, so they might make the weight. But I think Dan Hooker, this is a big moment in his career. He's got to win this fight. Back-to-back losses. I know he lost to
two title challengers.
2 title contenders, exactly. And probably the future champ in Poirier. But I think he wins this fight, though, against the knockoff Kevin Gastelum.
Yeah, I think great value, Kelvin Gastelum. He's a solid fighter.
Solid.
He's very solid, but I think Dan Hooker is going to be too much for him.
I hope so, man.
I love Dan Hooker. Who doesn't love Dan Hooker?
I love the way he fights, dude. That fight against Poirier is one of the best fights of 2020.
Well, I think it might be my favorite fight I've seen because it just was.
I can't believe some of those knees Poirier took and survived.
Yeah, I can't believe one of them. They both came out alive. I don't. Well, I feel bad for those people in Australia, man. We'll talk about that after. But this is also a big moment in this guy's career. Marlon Moraes.
If you're a hardcore fan, this is the real main event of the night.
Yeah. Marlon Moraes versus Merab Dvalishvili. Um, Marlon Moraes, it's been rough going for him. He's on a 3-fight skid, if I'm not mistaken. Losses to Sandhagen and Rob Font, both brutal knockouts in the very quickly.
Yeah.
And now Dvalishvili, who is probably the most conditioned athlete on this UFC roster. The guy will just grab you. I mean, this guy, I don't know how many takedowns he had against Cody Stamen, but it was a lot. Let's take a look at the big board here. Come on, there we go. He had 5 takedowns, but he seemed like he had ages of control time. This is make or break for Marlon Moraes, as I said. Breck, what do you have to say about this fight?
I agree. I mean, Moraes has lost to the best of the best competition. I mean, we can't forget he knocked out Aljo. So he has done that. But my boy Merab, trained out here on Long Island. Long Island guy now, if you didn't know. Mm-hmm. He's going to get the win. I think I saw a stat the other day that was pretty crazy. It's like, I think he's the fastest guy to like 50 takedowns or something in the UFC through 10 minutes or whatever. And I mean, his stand-up looked great in his last fight against, who's that guy?
Cody Stamen.
Cody Stamen. Cody Stamen looks like Drew Dober a little bit. But when I saw him fight, I was like, that's Drew Dober. But I think Merab wins because I think on the feet it'll be close, but I think Merab won't want to keep it on the feet forever and just take him down.
Nah, it'll be a gut out. But Marlon Moraes, I mean, he's coming with everything to lose.
He is. I mean, does he get cut if he loses this fight?
No, he doesn't get cut. Robbie Lawler should have been cut already. Let's be honest. To the main card, opening up the main card, I think this might be a murder by Andrade. Andrade versus Cynthia Calvillo. Here's how I view flyweight. Valentina is far and above everybody else. Then it's Andrade. Then a big gap. Then everybody below Andrade. Andrade got absolutely wrecked in her last fight by Valentina Shevchenko, which none of us expected it to be that bad, I don't think. Calvillo, she's coming off a loss to Chikagian, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been rough for both of these women as of late, but hey, winner gets the next title shot? Question mark?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think you are correct. I think Andrade just takes her down, ground and pound, first round TKO, but I don't really have much more to add than I think Andrade by murder.
Yeah, I think Andrade like body shot drops Calvillo, and then it's just done from there.
Yeah.
All right, 2 big boys going at it. Eugenio Rosenstruik versus Curzon.
This is another big career fight, like the trajectory of your career type fight. Like whoever wins this fight is gonna have big matchups soon. Could, a couple wins get to the title. I mean, Blades coming off. I mean, if you look at who Blades has lost to, he's only lost to Derek Lewis and Ngannou, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's only lost to like the top
best
guys. So is, I mean, Jairzinho lost to
Ngannou and Gane.
Yeah. So I mean, big fight. You got to think Curtis Blades wants to go heavy wrestling, but then again, maybe he's like gun shy because of the Derek Lewis thing. Because Blades does like kind of telegraph his takedowns a little bit, but
yeah, that's why he got killed by Derek Lewis.
It's an interesting fight, man. If I had to like choose the prospects of both guys, I think Jairzinho has a better chance at winning a title than Blades.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Whoever wins this fight, it's going to be determined where the fight is. If Rosenstruik keeps it on the feet, I mean, Rosenstruik is one of the top strikers in the heavyweight division because of his kickboxing background. And if Blades, shoots a blast double and gets it, you're going to the ground. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. So depending where this fight stays, I don't know whom to pick because has Rosenstruik really ever fought anybody that just tends to take you down? Not that I can think of.
Not that I can think of. Not like a wrestler as good as Blades.
Yeah. So I'd like to see the first 3 minutes of this fight, then choose. But if I had to choose right now, I'm going Curtis Blades.
I want to go Curtis Blades because, like, if you choose wrestling versus striking, who wins? Wrestling most, like, I mean, striking, you know, it's back and forth, but you'll always choose the wrestler over the striker if they can take them down. But I'll just go Jairzinho because I think the guy's more talented than Blades.
All right. To the people's main event. Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler.
I lied. You're right. Merab is like the co-main. This is the main event.
This is the people's main event. Nick Diaz returning to the octagon for the first time in nearly 6 years. No, over 6 years rather. And Robbie Lawler, former UFC welterweight champion, on like a 4-fight skid or something like that. But these two guys have come back to give the people what they want. The former Strikeforce champion versus the former UFC champion. Breck, what do you have to say about this bout?
I love this fight. I have a dread, you know, like a fear that we're going to get two old men that are going to really put on a bad fight. But knowing these two, I think they'll have a good scrap. There's a lot of things going into this fight, like the whole Nick Diaz interviews the last 2 days have been pretty interesting. He's basically said what every fighter probably thinks, but just never says. Like, I don't really like the fight, and this isn't fun or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's so tough to call, man, because Nick Diaz's last wins against BJ Penn like a decade ago. And then Robbie Lawler hasn't thrown a punch in his last 3 fights. I mean, his last fight in 2020, he literally threw like 10 punches the entire fight.
Let's check up on that. Let's see how many punches Lawler threw against Neil Magny, I think.
It might have been Magny.
Yeah.
Dude,
speaking of Neil Magny, why the hell does what's his face? Gilbert Burns want to fight this guy?
Stay active, probably.
All right, so Lawler threw 62 punches but landed 41.
That's over.
Or was that Covington? Because I bet you Covington did not let him get too many strikes off.
I think he threw more against Covington because it was 5 rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Covington barely threw. But the Magny fight, he threw like what? Basically threw 20 punches around.
Yeah, it was bad.
And he got taken down a couple times. So I have no idea where this. I mean, I think you could agree the consensus among the people, most people, is they want Nick Diaz to win because if he wins, he might get like a top 5 guy right away.
Or title shot.
So that's how big the name Diaz is. But I have no idea what to think. And all the people like on Twitter that are like, you see that video of like the shadow boxing.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh God, this is like Evander Holyfield 2.0. It's like nobody basically ever looks good in those things.
No.
It's not a real fight. The only person I saw that someone commented that I agree with, the person who looks great shadowboxing, out of everybody, is Piotr Jan.
You mean Ben Askren?
Oh. He's a close second, but I mean, it's shadowboxing. It's not a real fight. But both guys almost 40. It's like a retirement fight almost. But I don't know, man. Who do you got on this one?
If Nick Diaz's cardio is on point, I'm taking Nick Diaz. If not, I'm going Ruthless Robbie by a check left hook or something. And then we get the trilogy fight. If Robbie wins.
I kind of agree that that's how it goes. But like his cardio has not really failed him in the past.
No, but it's been 6 years since he's fought.
That's true. I think he's been doing like triathlons in that time.
Yeah.
So who knows?
I'm going Nick by submission. Screw it. Why not?
Yeah, I kind of want to go that too. I'll go Nick TKO again. 20 years later, who cares?
Dude, can you imagine how nuts the T-Mobile Arena will get?
Oh, it'll go crazy.
A fight that nobody's looking at. Shevchenko versus Lauren Murphy. All right, let's just get right into predictions. We know exactly what's going to happen. Valentina Shevchenko by knockout. What do you have to say?
Valentina Shevchenko, 2nd round knockout, 3rd round knockout. She maybe gets around. Maybe the first round's a little competitive, but then head kick over.
I don't know if you saw the embeddeds, but if you looked at Lauren Murphy on the pads, that hand speed just isn't there.
No, she's got some power, but like you just said, Valentina's going to be too fast. And then if she tries to take Valentina down, good luck. Andrade is an amazing wrestler, jiu-jitsu practitioner, got destroyed. So
I remember you and I said the best chance Andrade has at beating Shevchenko is to take her to the ground.
I know we were so wrong. It's unbelievable. Like, well, this is the only way to victory. Just nope. But I mean,
I'm looking for a body kick. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, or like just any type of strike's gonna win this fight for her. But she's so good everywhere. You know what I mean? Like any combination, anything on the ground, anything standing, she's better. I'm more interested to see if when she wins, who she calls out, because it's like the names are getting thin.
I'll call out 2 of you and fight me at once.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that would be fair almost.
No,
Like,
it wouldn't almost be fair. It would be fair.
Shevchenko wins, they have to book the Nunes trilogy.
If Nunes and Shevchenko win, that fight has to happen.
No, I mean, they're both good. Can we agree Juliana Pena is like just speaking out of pocket all the time?
Bum.
Like, just, I don't even know what she's on about, but
she's scared to fight me. No, she's not. Stop.
I don't think she's not scared of. And I mean, she could probably beat up men in her weight class pretty badly.
Oh, that's very debatable.
You don't think unranked guys in the 145 Nunes could beat up? I think she could.
No, she'd get killed.
I think she could beat up some guys, but
I doubt that. But this is awesome. People are overlooking this fight, I think.
I mean,
Volk versus Ortega, by the way.
Yeah, the fake main event. This isn't the real main event, by the way.
Some quasi main event.
This is like Fugazi main event. The real main event, Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler. But I love Volk in this. I mean, Volkanovski over 2 fights against Max Holloway absorbed like 200-something strikes. And then 1 fight against Max Holloway, Ortega absorbed 400-something strikes. So, I mean, that just shows you the levels to this. And I understand Brian Ortega's gotten better since then. He looked great against the Korean Zombie. And I just think Volk's too big. I think he's too strong. I think he's better everywhere. And I think, everybody keeps saying, like, if Volk takes him down, Ortega's going to pull a guillotine and submit him. It's like, Volk's not going to let him just get the neck like that easily.
No, and Volk's wrestling is Greco, so he's not going to shoot a blast double. He's going to grab you and toss you.
He's going to toss you. He's going to ground and pound you. And I mean, dude, this guy, you can argue Max won the second fight, but it was really close. So I think Volkanovski and Holloway are levels above the rest of this division, and I think we will see the champ retain. And I mean, another thing we were talking about before this, Ortega was saying how the Max Holloway fight, like the week before, he was like out partying, clubs and stuff leading up to the fight. And he said in the press conference yesterday that he was going to maybe do the same thing this week, but then Tracy Cortez like advised him against it. So your head's not really, is it really on winning the belt? You know what I mean?
He's lucky he got Tracy in his corner.
Yeah, exactly. If he didn't, he would have probably gone out. And, I don't know. Or Volkanovski was saying how like unprofessional he was, and maybe he's right. A little bit of it, maybe a little bit of him is right, but I think he smashes Ortega, man. I think in the 3rd round, it's over. TKO, ground and pound.
The only way I could see Ortega taking this fight is if, let's say, Volk slips on a kick or something, and then Ortega just takes top control.
It's on the ground and he gets caught in a darce or a rear naked choke or something, Ortega can win, but the champ's the champ for a reason.
Yeah, I'm going Volk. Brutal knockout in the 4th round.
I'm going Volk. TKO 3rd round. I think he's going to drop him with a body shot or something along those lines and just finish it off.
All right, so that's it for the preview, but we got some things to hash out for the next 10 or so minutes. John Jones. I don't know if you all saw pictures of him that he put on his Instagram story, but the dude is ripped at 260. He shouldn't gain any more weight, but he wants to get up to like 270, 275 and cut down to heavyweight. Breck, look,
This isn't smart.
It's scary, I think. It could go either way.
Agreed, but I think he's losing speed with this extra weight. I think he should be at, like, if he's moving to heavyweight, he should be at like 245, 250. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think his advantage in the heavyweight division is there's nobody better at wrestling. So why would you put on? I mean, I guess you could say, oh, the extra weight, lay on the, when you're laying on the guy, it's a little tougher to get you off of him. But I think it's a big mistake if he fights at 265 when he's been a light heavyweight his whole career.
I'm just very interested to see. Look, I think he's doing it right. He hasn't fought in 1.5 years.
It's going to be 2 years before he fights. It's kind of.
He's obviously taking the time to do it right. So I think I trust John Jones. I mean, he's the best to ever do it. I mean, this dude did cocaine and partied a week before his fights, and he still won. So
that's a younger John Jones, though. That's not a 35.
Yeah, 30. But this is a wise John Jones.
Wise John Jones is great, but like when you're a little slower because of the extra weight against an Ngannou, then he lands.
Yeah, but Ngannou's not fast.
Dude, he still lands.
I understand, but John Jones, heavyweight champ, 2022.
I don't know if we're ever going to see him at heavyweight, to be honest. I'm like kind of skeptical now.
Well, his representative said he's confident that the Ngannou Jones fight will get done after talking to Dana. So,
but then how is that fair to Cyril Gane?
Well, John Jones is the greatest light heavyweight of all time. Just give him the title shot. I
agree, but they've offered him the shot and he has turned it down. So I don't know, man. The more time he spends away from the octagon, I don't like his chances at heavyweight.
Yeah, but I'm excited.
Don't get me wrong.
Yoked John Jones. I want to see that. Joe Rogan's going to be dreaming about this all night. Speaking of Joe Rogan, thank God he's not on the commentary desk this time.
You know what? You take that back right now. I will not stand for this heresy. All this heresy on Twitter, and on Instagram, and on all these apps. Joe Rogan, when I think of UFC, I think of, oh, he's hurt. He's hurt. When there's like just a basic 1-2, okay? That's what I think of. It's not a great UFC event if you're like at the fridge getting like a drink and you hear, oh, he's hurt. And then you run to the TV and the guy's standing up completely normal. You know what I mean?
I guess. But I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of Rogan.
I love it. But I mean, don't get me wrong. The commentary team for this fight will be very
good. We need Fitz, Bisping, and Felder for one.
They deserve one big one. You know what I mean?
They're so fun.
They have good chemistry.
Yeah. One more thing, because I got work in like 10 minutes. But Miesha Tate versus whatever her face was. I don't know who she was going to fight, but canceled because Miesha Tate tested positive for COVID-19. Guys, get your shot. Breck, what were your thoughts?
They'll just push it back.
Yep.
I don't really have any other thoughts about that.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts about anything that we've discussed or anything you want to bring up?
Few things. Robert Whittaker posted a photo saying January.
Yes.
Very exciting. Brian Boom Kelleher versus Sugar Sean is like in the works, supposedly.
That'll be fun.
That would be fun. And then what was the other one I wanted to point out? Jorge Masvidal, Leon Edwards.
Oh, yes.
Supposedly in the works.
Leon Edwards is terrible. I'm just going to say that right now.
He is.
You can't like this guy.
I don't know. If you like this guy, it's unbelievable how he has fans. He is maybe like, he needs to fire his agents and hire a good manager or somebody and have them talk for him, because every time he talks, I'd like him less.
Yeah. Speaking of English people, Darren Till, because we didn't discuss this, I think he's got to come to America. there's no other chance. There's no other possible way he can get a title shot if he doesn't come to the U.S.
At the pull of Bisping. Bisping came to America, got better. And the thing about coming to America, that the UK fighters might have some good wrestlers, but they don't have the volume of good wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like, they might have a few good wrestlers, but they don't have, lines out the door of wrestlers. You go to like American Top Team, they'll bring in 50 D1, like wrestlers. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Darren, please come to America. We want to see you win a title.
Yeah, and it's like Leon Edwards is like, oh, I thought in this sport you win fights and then you get a title shot. Dude, I poked Bilal Muhammad. You probably would have beat Bilal Muhammad, but you wouldn't have knocked him out. It wouldn't have looked impressive. And then you beat up Nate Diaz, wwho almost knocked you out in the 5th round. What do you?
No one remembers you fighting Nate Diaz.
No, only people
except the knockout.
Except the almost knockout. That's the only thing people remember. So it's like, Leon Edwards, fight Jorge Masvidal. If you win, you'll probably get a title shot. Please stop talking in the media.
All right, Breck. Final word.
Nick Diaz Army. Let's go.
Nick Diaz Army, guys. All right, that'll do it for us here at Throwin Hands. We'll see you for the review. Bye.